Hello and welcome to the second episode of Slacker News, a podcast about all things tech. I'm Shane.
I'm Martin.
This week we're going to be talking about updates from Twitter, USB 3.2, and a lovely story about the man who used to work at Uber and is now being sued by Google. Okay, so first off, Twitter, what do you think about their new 280 character limit?
I think it's stupid, to be honest. Like the one thing Twitter, like its defining feature was that it was 140 characters. And that was kind of it. Like they had a whole saying around it, wasn't it? Like, you know, your thoughts in 140 characters. It's just kind of what you associate Twitter with. And they have this whole post. It's like, oh yeah, well, people who write in Korean, Chinese, Japanese, they can say so much more in that many characters because one character or two characters can be a word.
Well, they're not getting the double one.
Yeah, no, but like, it just seems weird. It's like that's something that's kind of been around for ages, and you still can't, edit tweets at all. But
This means now you're going to get the Japanese Twitter experience.
I mean, maybe I already do.
How do you?
I'm just looking at like dumb weeb shit. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah. I actually I was following someone and all the translations were way too bad. I think they use like Bing Translate. So like they'd be posting something about like the movie they were releasing or the book or whatever, and I would go to like Bing Translate and it'd be like, yeah, no, this is so inaccurate. So
That's like we were reading that article about Chinese wiretapping, and it came out as Chinese wire fauceting. So that's a pretty good translation anyway.
they were close enough. They just need like a thesaurus as well as a dictionary.
I was so lost when I read that.
Yeah, no, it took me a little second.
So the whole thing is 140 characters was Twitter's thing.
Yep.
So their whole business was, hey, say what you want to say in 140 characters. And now they're taking away what their main business was. And now they're doing not that.
Yeah.
That's a terrible way of phrasing it.
Um,
We have one defining feature. Now we have no defining feature.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the whole point is you can write it without it being a whole blog post or whatever. But, like, 280 characters isn't that much. It's not that much more, really.
Well, the only person I've ever seen actually use multiple posts was Trump and people going on a rant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what people use Twitter for. Like, chaining them together, it's actually bigger than it used to be. There used to be this website called Twitlonger. And you could write your tweet that you actually wanted to write in that and then link it in Twitter. So there's a whole kind of thing based around that because people can't do it in 140 characters. And then people also would write in the Notes app on iOS, take a screenshot of it and post that as a tweet. So people were already circumventing it and they kind of created a whole website that was probably pretty big.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the kind of culture around it. But I don't know. I just think it's unnecessary.
Well, I don't go on rants, but I do often find I'm trying to rethink what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To fit it into a sentence.
Yeah, you kind of get towards the end, and especially if you mention people, like if you mention like three people, that I think that uses up your characters, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then if you put in a link.
Yeah.
But
it makes it shorter, but it still uses quite a few.
Yeah.
It uses like the t.co, but no, it's. I just don't see the point really. It's like the amount of engineering that's having to go into it. It's a lot of publicity for them. People are talking about Twitter. And not just about Trump or Nazis, but
there was a real fun point about 2 weeks ago where if you looked up Nazi on Twitter, the first thing that came up was Donald Trump.
Yeah,
and that's real bad. I didn't know he was a Nazi, but Twitter says he's a Nazi.
That's an impartial company right there.
Well, he's like really relevant to the topic, but he himself is not a Nazi
that we know of. On both sides. But this is not a politics podcast, so let's get back to the heart of the issue. 280 characters, is it enough? Should it just be freeform?
No, because I do what I did on my college Moodle profile and put the entire first Harry Potter book.
Someone tweeted recently, it was like, oh, I have 280 characters. And then it was just like, somebody once. It just went on. It took up, like, you would scroll for so long, it took up so much space.
Did they do it like one letter each line?
No, I wish they did though. Like, people are going to do that and it's going to be so annoying. Like, people can just do like returns. I think that works. People do it in their bios, I think.
So I could do one character and then use the rest on returns and then
Yeah,
have
it's
another
something
character
like
at the bottom,
Or maybe you have to do a space per line, but even so, that gives you 280 lines to work with.
and I could just do that 4 times, and I'd wreck your day.
Yeah, or you could put a link every 10 lines, and you would be taking up someone's Twitter with your product. Anyone who's marketing something on Twitter.
I wish I had a product.
Yeah. Well, you can try it out if we ever get 280 characters.
Yeah,
They're rolling that out staggered.
Yeah,
which is smart, I guess. But it just kind of makes the whole thing weirder, because it's like, oh yeah, certain people get this. Like there was a whole kind of uproar around the whole verified thing, because once you were able to pay for verified, or pay to kind of speed it up, that's one of Twitter's only ways.
Pay to be verified,
or you pay to apply or something like that. Yeah, there's some weird.
Can I do it right now?
I'm not sure. Maybe you do have to have some amount of followers, but
How many? How many do you need?
I have no idea. I'm literally just speculating, but there was some kind of paid thing. But people were saying, so people who are verified can mute. They have special powers essentially. They can mute certain words. They can.
You can do that normally.
No, you can.
Oh,
There was a time when you couldn't. It was only verified, or you can only see people who are verified tweeting at you. There are certain powers that you had essentially to stop yourself being abused, because that's what Twitter's for. Abusing celebrities.
It's a platform of free speech, but not that free.
So people were like, well, if you don't want people to be bullied on your platform, just give everyone the ability to use these features. Don't just limit it to people who are verified. And then they were like, no. And then people got a little more butthurt, and then they were like, okay, we'll do that. That's fine.
Okay, I found an article here: how to get verified on Twitter.
Yeah.
So you got to fill out your profile completely.
Okay.
You need a website as well.
Yeah.
Verify your phone and email. Add a birthday. Set your tweets to public. And then there's a verification form.
And do you have to pay?
I don't know, it's loading.
I've seen people verified who have fucking 10 followers.
I love when they have in their bio they're verified, oh, I'm just a regular guy. That blue tick means nothing. You're like, yeah, I know.
I've never seen that. That's pretty bad.
It's fucking awful.
Just do the Keemstar one. Do the popcorn emoji after your name, because you couldn't get verified.
I have a heart.
A heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's your branding.
I have to log into Twitter to verify, to go to the verification form, even though I was already logged in. So the form seems to have logged me out.
It needs to make sure it's you, for definite.
I fucking quit. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I'll make them reach out to me.
Listen, we know that you're a big shot. You're talking about verification. We just want to here's this. Our speech is really free. Just tell people that while you're at it. Except when it's not. But yeah, no. Twitter's weird. People say Twitter's kind of important and stuff. People use it a lot. Journalists use it. It's a good source of news. All that kind of crap. But I think a year ago, people would have said it's not long for this world, because of just how badly it was doing, and everyone was just kind of yeah, Twitter's dying.
They're not profitable.
They've never been profitable.
So what are they?
They're growth focused.
Okay.
No, I don't know. They do have a lot of users. They don't have as many users as they think they do, because there's so many bots on Twitter.
Yeah.
They give crazy amounts of daily active users, but that guy who was asking for retweets for free chicken nuggets from Wendy's only got 8 million, and they were like, we have I don't know, some crazy number of daily active users, and he got none of them. No retweets. No one wants to give him free nugs.
Speaking of free speech on Twitter, have you heard of Gab?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so they're like Twitter, but actual free speech.
So no one's going to use it?
You don't want to go there. No, it's full of racists and actual Nazis, and just white supremacy runs free there. And they got taken off the App Store, or they got rejected.
Is that for NSFW content or for hate speech?
I will find out.
Because I know there were a lot of 4chan apps that were taken off the App Store because you could access NSFW content. So there are none on the Apple App Store, and there are very few on the Play Store.
See, that's how I think Tumblr do that.
Tumblr, you have to go through some hoops, I think.
No, the actual Tumblr app, I think they don't even have the enable.
The toggle, yeah.
Yeah, they have that on the site, but not on the app.
A lot of porn on Tumblr.
Yeah, but not on the phone app, or is there? Our sources say there's a lot of porn on the phone.
Still. Okay. Still. There's still porn on the Tumblr app. Everyone rejoice.
Where do I find it?
You type.
Go out in your settings. You have to choose it in your settings. The same as Reddit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the toggle in your settings. I think they make the settings hard to find though. Because last time I looked for it, I couldn't find it.
Okay,
But
Ars Technica says the Gab app violated Google's antitrust laws.
that's really funny, considering Chrome OS doesn't let you switch to any browser except from Chrome. You know, the whole antitrust thing.
What do you mean antitrust?
So back in the day, Microsoft had an antitrust lawsuit against them because they shipped with Internet Explorer as the default, and Mozilla and whoever made Netscape were like, well, that's monopolizing because you own the OS and you make your web browser preferred. So there was a whole lawsuit against them, and they had to make, like, you had to choose a default or you could change it or whatever.
Did I read this wrong? Oh no, they're arguing that Google violated antitrust laws.
By
they
taking them off?
By taking them off, because Google have a big deal with Twitter. They signed in 2015.
Okay, well, that sounds more. More
Let's just assume they got taken off because it's we're going to go with racism, porn, hate speech, all the good stuff.
I was on a version, I think I was talking to you about it. It's like Twitter, but it's like, it's not distributed. It's federated. Federated. Yeah. Something like that. It's called Mastodon, and people create like instances of it. So it's like a protocol essentially. But you can create your own instance. So people have like Mastodon.Brussels, I think was one. Mastodon.social, Mastodon.rocks, and then you
have Mastodon.xxx.
I think you can set it up if someone else hasn't. But like someone on like the local timeline, because there's like a local timeline and there's like a global timeline, and someone on the local one was like, "Does anyone know if there's Mastodon for cyberpunk porn?" I'm just wondering.
That's
like,
so specific.
Yeah, because I'm in like a really nerdy one. And he was like, "Oh yeah," like 2 days later, he was like, "Yeah, totally kidding about that, by the way." And I was like, "No, you fucking weren't. Come on." But yeah. So I don't know. Do you think Twitter will survive?
Yeah.
Because of Trump?
Not as a business, but yeah, definitely. Or do you think like he'll just kind of back it up if they're going under?
He drives so many million users back to the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
he's
both
great for
supporters
their
and people who
business.
hate him. He's just like, he's the reason it's mentioned on the news all the time. Because that's his way of communicating. So
yeah,
it's a pretty big deal.
It's really handy anyway. But I don't know. From a business perspective, no, it should be dead. It's like it's dead in the water, and then it crashed up against the rocks and got totally mangled, and now it's like even more dead in the water.
People just haven't informed the family. Like, it died a long time ago, but Jack's like, "No, it's fine."
I don't get why it's not gone. Same with like Snapchat and all them. And Spotify. They're so much in the red. They're not businesses. They're
Yeah, but I mean,
too big to fail.
yeah, that's infallible. That's never ever gone wrong for anyone.
How many websites depend entirely on Twitter for their login authentication and nothing else?
I don't know if it would be that many, because I know like a lot of them use Twitter, but not Twitter like specifically, or just Twitter. Do you know anything that uses just Twitter?
No, I don't. I'm really
You
boring.
don't sign up for
I don't
stuff.
sign up to things.
I've seen stuff that has like Twitter, GitHub, and then email for people who don't want their social accounts linked to everything.
Yeah, I recently signed up to dev.to or whatever with my GitHub.
Yeah.
And then
No, you broke it when you.
Yeah,
signed up.
I did the sign up process about halfway, and then I went, okay. So I signed up with my Twitter and then linked my GitHub. And now anytime I try and change my settings, it says, "Oh, this GitHub account is already in use." But there's no option for a GitHub account. It's not even mentioned on the page.
Well, to be fair, you can just like send a message to the person who owns it.
I definitely could.
And he would write back to you immediately and be like, "Yep, here's the fix." Or I personally dove into the database and fixed that for you.
Well, they definitely do it, but I think it's more fun having broke their website, keeping it to myself.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's like the first website we were seeing people doing cross-site scripting really interestingly and not even seeing if it worked.
Yeah, I had a lovely chat with a Filipino gentleman asking how he did it, and there was an ever so slight language barrier, so we didn't really have a lot to say to each other.
But that was using the wonderful medium of Twitter DMs.
Oh yeah,
You slid hard into those DMs.
I did.
So that's why Twitter will survive.
I
Because
stumbled in.
People love sliding into DMs. And now Trump doesn't have to censor himself, so it's going to be great. So should we move on from Twitter?
Do you think Trump would use Gab just to piss people off?
No,
No.
because he would be like, well, I can
He'd
use
have,
Twitter.
He'd have to learn a new app.
Yeah,
That's fair.
he can't give up his phone.
Okay.
I don't think he has.
Right. So USB 3.2 boosts the. I'm not going to bother reading the article.
Yeah.
USB
everyone
3.2 specifications have been revealed. So it's 2 gigabytes per second on USB Type-C. That is excessive.
Yeah, that's way too much.
Like,
It's not too much, but fucking hell.
is that not more than a SATA cable
I think so.
on a HDD? Like, that's ridiculous.
It's that is it's excessive. That's higher than Cat 5 or Cat 6? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's 1 gigabit. That's 1 gigabit per second.
1 gigabit.
Yeah. This is 2 gigabytes.
Jesus Christ. So that's on USB Type C.
Yeah.
Is it like, when are we gonna see that? Never.
The problem is USB is not standardized at all anymore
Yeah.
because everyone's just going like, oh, now we're Type C.
Well, I don't know if it was standardized at the start. I think it was at some point it was mostly standardized, but like I was looking into powering a Raspberry Pi over USB 1, I think. And everyone was like, listen, no one who builds anything listens to the USB spec. So you're not going to know what kind of amperage you're getting. And it's not going to be stable. It's meant to be 0.2 amps, but it can be up to 0.8. It can be as low as like 0.1. So it just depends on your device. So I don't think anyone has really been following any guidelines.
Yeah, like this cable I have here charges way better than my other longer cable.
That cable looks kind of shit.
It's a fantastic cable. I didn't think a cable would make it charge faster.
I mean, if it's shorter, I guess it would.
You're shorter.
I know.
So there was a USB 3.1 generation 1, and that was 5 gigabits. Then there was generation 2. USB 3.1 generation 1 and 2. They didn't want to iterate that.
They need to work on their branding and their...
Yeah, so
their
Gen
name.
2 was 10 gigabits, and now we're on 2 gigabytes per second.
That's a bit of a jump.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, what? 10 gigabits is 1.25
I don't know maths.
gigabytes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No. Yeah.
I can't divide by
Yeah,
8.
1 point... These are all like really simple numbers. It's like 2 and 8. Yeah, so it's not that much of a jump, but it seems like it. Like once you drop the bit and go into the byte, it's just that's so excessive. But it would be great, like, you know, if you're transferring stuff, you're doing backups, like it'll be sick whenever it's out, but it's not gonna be out for so long.
And then nothing will use it
Yeah.
because everything's using, is it Thunderbolt?
The only thing that really uses Thunderbolt is Macs, but then they can't decide whether they're using C or Thunderbolt, so they put both of them into the one, but only on one side of the new MacBook Pro. So you can only power it from one side. Like it's 4 USB-C, but also Thunderbolt ports on it, but it's only the ones on the right side that you can use to charge. It's really weird. It's like, these ports are exactly identical unless you want to charge, in which case you have to use these ports, which are exactly identical. So Apple's just kind of a bit of a mess when it comes to ports right now. There's no wire you can buy from Apple or from anyone, essentially, that will connect your MacBook Pro to your iPhone anywhere after a 5. Whenever the Lightning came over, there's no Thunderbolt or USB-C to Lightning cable that you can buy from Apple, so you can't plug your MacBook into your iPhone
At all.
No, you have to use adapters.
That they don't make.
No, they do make the adapters.
But they don't make the cable.
Yeah, they don't make a cable that goes from one to the other. You have to get a USB-A cable to a lightning cable and plug that into an adapter.
Is USB-A what I just call USB?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I
What's
don't know where B
USB-B?
went. Yeah, maybe it is USB-B, but that sounds wrong. Or maybe USB-B is like tiny.
Sounds
like
like your lovely girlfriend from the US.
My USB-B.
I'm going to look this up. Okay.
Watch out for those American thoughts.
USB-B.
Is that what we think USB-A is?
Oh, no, it's what I call a printer cable. The
Wait,
kind of like the
USB-B
square
is
one. USB-B is the square one. I call it a printer
that's
cable.
A to B. So that's
the B of the A.
Okay.
Yeah, I use that.
Yeah, so printer cable. Okay.
Yeah. Even though I only ever use it with like my music equipment.
I've used it for like printers and scanners. We have some really sick ones at the house from like the year 2000. They're like silver and sparkly.
They don't have serial port.
No, they don't actually. I only used serial port like once, and it was a bit of an experience, to be honest. I'd never come into contact with any serial equipment, so I was a bit shocked.
Our good friend Cahill, he was restoring a Windows 98 PC for his father because it uses the software he uses at work, and he finally got it running after about a day, and it was like, okay, please attach the physical key to the serial port.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, that was a hardware key back in the day. A literal piece of machinery that you attach to a printer port.
I think doesn't Blizzard / World of Warcraft use like a USB key for account authentication? Isn't that an option you can choose?
No, I know they used to send out little. You get a 2FA. It looked like USB. You can put on your keys, but it was just a button.
Oh, and it generated the code?
Yeah, because it had your secret key and then a time on it.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was actually a USB that you put in. Okay.
They're very ahead of the time using that, like, two-factor
I think it's because there's
authentication.
so much fucking value.
Yeah.
Like, people had spent so much time. They were like, listen, gotta protect your shit. And now people still aren't using two-factor authentication.
Yeah, like, my friend had one, and, he wasn't even up there, but he kept getting hacked all the time. And he didn't give his details out.
Yeah.
People just call up Blizzard and go, hey, I'm whatever the character's name on this server.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I've forgotten my email and my password and my name and my birthday.
One time when I was younger, back in the day, there was someone running around the towns of RuneScape shouting out, my password is, and then their password. So I logged into the account, changed the password, and I had this account which had like 2 weeks of membership. I'm pretty sure someone probably just went on their friend's account. Like, looking back at it now, someone went on their friend's account and just ruined their day. So I had this account, and the membership ran out. I was like, okay. So I topped it up again. Cost me like a $5. I had another month of membership.
You topped up the account that you got.
Yeah, it didn't belong to me at all. And then, no surprise, give it a couple of days, and the password's changed. I've lost access to the account. And
did you not change the email?
No, I don't think I could. I think I had to use like a recovery question or something. So I went into recovery questions to see if I could, sneak my way back in. And the password or the recovery question was, what is the name of my pet llama?
Carl?
I had no idea.
It wasn't Carl. It was probably Carl.
It probably was Carl, but I was just like, I have no idea. So I was looking up, well, that's interesting. I'm still recording.
Your monitor's going crazy.
Yeah, my monitor died, but the recording's still going. So I'm going to leave that up. That's pretty aesthetically pleasing. Man, Audacity has just been glitching out on me. But I love this. This fucking monitor. You get what you pay for, but I got a lovely LG generic monitor. So, anyways, USB 3.2. When are we going to have USB-C on all phones, including iPhones? Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, see, the problem is I have to buy a new phone for that to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to buy a new phone.
You're going to buy a small tablet with no baseband mobile connection. And
I'll bring around one of those, I don't know, portable modems you can get. Plug it into a power bank.
buy one from like the 3 shop and just use that all day, or just like squat in Starbucks in college and take all the Wi-Fi.
I can't afford Starbucks.
Yeah, you just squat outside. You've got connections though. You could sneak down the back and just be a Wi-Fi hobo.
I was doing that last week.
Yeah.
Oh, it was wonderful. A bunch of kids came in, so I sent a little text up to the guy at the counter. I was like, "Hey, can you kick them out?" And he did, even though I hadn't bought anything.
Perfect.
And that's why you network, of course.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the whole reason people go to these like software conferences. They just really want to find out, how can I get in there. So, do you have anything else to say on USB 3.2 apart
No,
from?
I won't see it. It's not going to affect my life, unfortunately. I'd love it to affect my life, but it's not going to.
Do you think it'll improve hard drives because people need bigger hard drives to transfer all their pirated content more quickly?
Yeah, it's fair. I remember back in the day I was transferring some definitely not pirated content from my hard drive to my friends. This is around the SOPA era, you know?
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I was definitely transferring him not all of Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
And we went out, we got a meal, we went to the movies, we came back and it was still going.
I know someone who they went to a hotel, like him and the family, they were away on holidays, but he knew this hotel had great Wi-Fi.
I did that too.
Yeah, brought his laptop, set that up. He was like, right lads, what am I going to definitely not illegally download? And just set it going for whatever many days they were there. His laptop was on the whole time. And he had a 2 terabyte external hard drive. So.
You talking about me? This sounds just like me.
It maybe it was you. I don't know.
My friend, I did the exact same thing. Went to Liverpool, and they had fantastic internet, like 6 years ago. So my friend goes, "Hey, can you get me all of nothing?" So I downloaded all of this Japanese nothing, and I bring it back. It was 20 gigs, and he goes, "Oh, I wanted it dubbed, not subbed." I'm like, "How dare you, sir?"
Fucking hell. Yeah, for that long ago, 20 gigs. That was a lot.
It was fantastic.
I remember when I had capped internet, it was capped to first 30 gigs, then 60 gigs a month, which is not doable at all.
Yeah.
Like, I had a shit computer, so I didn't really have to worry about Steam games that were like, 50 gigs. I tried to get Arma 2, and I said there was a friend of mine who wanted to play it with me. And I says, okay, give me 3 months. He's like, what? I was like, 3 months. I'll download it in 3 months. He was like, how the? I was like, well, it's like once you download everything, it was about 60 gigs. And I was like, I need the other 40 for just general use. So I'll take it 20 gigs at a time. In 3 months, I'll be able to play this game with you. So
I once received a letter from our provider saying that we were classed as a small to large business with our internet usage.
Did you ever get a warning from your ISP?
I think that was it.
Oh.
What do you mean, like for
a
piracy?
specific thing that you torrented?
No.
I saw one. Aircom sent out a warning because someone was downloading a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, and it had like the file name and everything in the letter. Because what had happened was, it's like people aren't gonna challenge you in court or whatever. They're not really gonna bother with you if you're just downloading stuff. But if you're uploading, if you're seeding, then you're providing content. What's the word I'm looking for? You're distributing.
Yeah.
So that's when it becomes a bit of a crime. Like, you can take drugs, but if you're caught selling drugs, then it's more than a slap on the wrist,
Yeah. Slap on each wrist, and then you get 8 hours of community service.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast before where the lovely gentleman on that, they're like a big animation studio, and they got their internet cut off because someone downloaded Agent Cody Banks. So I don't think Agent Cody Banks is worth having your entire business shut down for a while.
Sometimes that stuff's really like funny though. Like they send out these really kind of idle threats, but it's not really like the ISP doesn't really give a shit. It's
they're being forced to.
Yeah, they have to do some amount of policing. But
remember the day when Pirate Bay got blocked? Because I went on and I was like, "Oh, Pirate Bay's blocked," and everyone's like, "Hey, is your Pirate Bay blocked?" Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. And then that one guy who was on a different thing, his wasn't, so everyone went to his house. It was fantastic.
I remember that happening. I was like, man, or it was blocked. I think it was blocked on Aircom first, but I was
Yeah.
still on 3, so I still had my data cap, but I had my 3 freedom, so I could use it for another while. And I think it eventually, maybe it never got blocked. I don't know, but 3 has some weird stuff. Anyways, you know, you have to go and message them to get your adult content filter lifted. So they don't mind blocking stuff when they feel they need to.
Dear 3, please give me the naked ladies. Okay, so what do you think of this whole Uber thing?
So I think,
Sorry, that's too broad.
yeah, you know more about this than me.
Uber stealing Google's proprietary technology, allegedly,
Okay,
because it's still in court.
you talk about this, and then I'll give my opinion because I haven't really looked into this part of it.
Okay, so Anthony Lewandowski,
Great name.
yeah, sounds like Lebowski, which I like. Anyway, he used to work for Google, and he was part of their autonomous car division, and then that got spun off into a company called Waymo, and then he was like, no, fuck this, I'm going to leave. Or did he leave and make Waymo? Either way, he left, and Google think he left with at least 13,000 documents, and he's like, no, I didn't. I made all this autonomous driving stuff from scratch myself. And then he went to Uber. I'm butchering this, so I'm going to cut half of this out. Anyway, Uber, he then went to Uber and was using all that. And then Google are saying that he stole all their information. And he's saying he didn't. And then they brought in, how do I forget the Google guy? What's the head of Google called?
Sundar Pichai.
No, the original guy, the OG Google guy.
Sergey Brin
The
or
other guy.
Larry Page?
Larry Page. Larry Page got brought in and deposed, and they're like, did you ever talk to this guy? He's like, probably. Like, what'd you talk about? I don't remember. And, you know, just Uber are getting sued is what is the whole point.
I think Uber is going to have more good lawyers than they will have good software developers by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're going to need. Like, they don't need software developers anymore. They just need PR people and lawyers.
So that's my complete butchering of that.
Do you believe him that he didn't steal those things from Google?
No, I think he took every last bit of it.
He just got a USB 3.2 3.2 stick and just stole everything. Maybe they weren't even autonomous driving records he stole. Maybe he just took like people's Google Docs.
No, it's to do with their LiDAR or something, which is...
That sounds very fancy.
I think it's just the word light and then radar cut into one thing.
So it's like for detecting...
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a whole just, you know, self-driving cars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the reason I think he definitely stole them is because he's a scumbag. Allegedly.
Allegedly. So why is he allegedly a scumbag?
I don't think you really... Like, Uber's done a lot of shady shit, and I'm sure he was behind it. So, like, he wasn't directly behind it, but the main grievance people have had with Uber recently is I hate this term, but it's corporate culture. So, you know, that was a very kind of dog eat dog, do what you have to do to be successful, be a complete scumbag about it. So I think, you know, that was kind of his shtick. So I think he definitely could have left Google and taken some stuff with him.
Now, I told you I had a fun little bit of information about that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this may affect your judgment. So in 2015, September of 2015, he founded a religious organization called The Way of the Future. It proposes, according to previously unreported state filings, I can't read. Its purpose, according to previously unreported state filings, is nothing less than to develop and promote the realization of a godhead based on artificial intelligence. So he thinks God is an AI.
I have some concerns. Why? Okay. Like, obviously the dude's smart. He was working for Google for their AR thing. He made Uber work. He made Waymo work. So he could have done this stuff on his own, potentially. Because, like, have Waymo done... Like, Waymo, is that... What do they do? Is it self-driving car stuff specifically? Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing that he does at Uber.
Okay, so what do you think? After reading all this, after finding about his religion, what do you think? Did he do it?
See, Musk believes everything. This is a simulation. But that's a bit different than claiming that God is an AI.
Why not both? God is an AI that creates simulations that we live in, and then we hop in cars, which are AIs, to drive us around to our jobs.
Where we
watch AIs do our jobs.
So are we creating machine learning algorithms inside this giant machine learning algorithm?
Yeah, it's like you don't watch Rick and Morty. It's like
I do watch Rick and Morty. I watched all of it.
It's like mini verses.
Oh yeah.
It's a microverses.
So your man created a little universe to put and power his car, and inside of that they created a microverse. So do you think that eventually our machine learning algorithms are going to start machine learning algorithms?
What if, right? Major conspiracy theory here.
Mm-hmm.
What if we are in a mini-verse or a microverse which is powered, like the power that we emit that they use, the reason we're around, is greenhouse gas.
So we're angering them right now.
No, we're providing them power.
But we're reducing the greenhouse gas.
Not enough.
But we're reducing it,
but not enough
to make them angry.
Yeah, not enough to make them angry.
So you're saying eventually,
if we get rid of all greenhouse gases, we're gonna be shut down. Trump's right.
I trust
science.
No, I'm gonna trust Anthony Lebowski,
the Church of AI or whatever it was.
A little bit.
The truth.
Yeah. On the ranking of believable conspiracy theories, it's going to go you, that guy, and then Musk.
Just for people who are listening to this, which is everyone, that was from lowest to highest, not from highest to lowest.
That's fair. I guess you guys can't see my hand.
That's an important distinction.
You're missing out.
I'm full of shit, is what I say. And I fully acknowledge that. So... do you think this is actually going to come to anything, or is it just going to be another one of these like Silicon Valley legal things that doesn't really matter?
I don't know. Uber aren't going to go down. They're going to keep going.
Unless they get like kicked out of everywhere.
They're going to keep going. They'll just like pay people less. They'll like change the margins even more.
What's funny about it is though, like the CEO was saying like, yeah, we have workers. They're good, I guess. But, you know, as soon as we can replace them with AI, we will. Like, he has no bones about it. He's like, you know, those people are out of a job as soon as we can get them out of a job.
Well, Uber don't consider their employees.
Yeah.
They're like a different type of user.
I guess that's true. Like, when you think about it, they are just using this app.
Well, it's like YouTube don't consider YouTubers employees.
Yeah, they're not, though.
Yeah, they're not, but they're making bank off of it.
Yeah, but they're still like self-employed, or they're employed by their network, I guess.
Yes, that's like they have the right to replace them.
I guess. I mean, they have the right to replace them anyways. You know, they're a private business.
That's an ethical question.
I mean,
and I'm all for it.
They're a private company; they can do what they want. Twitter's a private company; they don't have to adhere to free speech. It just looks better if they do.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of like I think it was like the ex-CEO of McDonald's was like, as soon as minimum wage hits $15, robots. So he's like, it's not worth it. Like we can do it with robots, and when we hit that threshold of $15 minimum wage, it's going to be more efficient to do it with robots.
Do you think $15 minimum wage would increase like the quality of the staff? Like I've had some lovely people in work, you know, serve me in McDonald's, but a lot of them just look depressed.
Would you work at McDonald's for 15 an hour?
15 maybe.
Yeah, no.
We've been working for 5.
Yeah, that's software development. But it's the next big bubble, plastering then software development.
Plastering was a bubble.
I mean, yeah, any kind of construction was a bubble.
Yeah,
and then that burst.
Yo, there's,
Plasterers were making bank, man.
there's another housing bubble.
Oh yeah, of course.
Remember how we said there'd never be another housing bubble? There's another housing bubble.
Property is weird.
I love
Who
Ireland.
cares? It's a simulation.
That's a good way to wrap it up. All right. Thanks for listening. If you did listen, say, tell us how it was.
Array started AI.
Erase started. No. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I've got to link all the stuff in the description down below. And if you want to follow us on Twitter or anything, that's down there too. And we're on YouTube, SoundCloud, and other stuff soon.
Gab.
No, not Gab. We're not on Gab.
We'll never be on Gab.
Right. Goodbye.